Hey guys, I just wanted to say before we get into the podcast today that our sponsor this month is returning, Figurosity.com. If you're into drawing and you need some models to work from, these are 3D generated computer models of different genders and sizes of people. You can turn them, you can change the lighting, and it's a great website with lots of options. So if you go to Figurosity.com, you can sign up, and using the coupon code Anatomy101, you get $5 off, which equals to about a free month. And it's a great artist tool and a great way to practice. You can even kind of set up a series of drawings, so kind of a timed drawing type thing. And it's very similar to our figure drawing groups. That's why they like to sponsor us, and we love to have them as sponsors again and again. So thank you again to Figurosity.com, and that is coupon code Anatomy101. So now let's get into the podcast. Welcome back, Inebri-arts. This is Andy of the Inebri-art podcast, and we are back again at the Craft Beer Cellar on Main Street in Plymouth for all your craft beer needs. I would tell you to get an advent calendar, but I think they're almost sold out. But hey, man, give it a call. See if you can get one. 24 beers and wines to kick off your holidays. And I feel like my life is full of those small world stories where your life interlaces with someone else, and this is kind of almost the opposite. Today's guest, I know so many people that know you, but we've never met, so welcome to the show, Hayley Sabella.
Thank you so much, Andy. I'm glad to be here.
So why haven't we met before? That's so, like...
I don't know, you tell me. This is your fault.
How's it my fault? We're 30 seconds in and it's my fault?
I cast the blame on you.
That's fair. It probably is. Singer-songwriter. And so, like, what age did you kind of first catch the bug that you kind of got into music? Like, was it early on? Was it kind of, like, later?
So my family is musical. Both my parents are music teachers. So
oh, okay. So it was expected?
It wasn't expected, which I'm grateful for, because if they'd forced it on me, I would have been, like, an accountant or something.
I was going to say, you didn't want to rebel and be like, I'm going to be a mathematician.
Yeah, they never forced it on me, which I'm grateful for. Or I should not be grateful for. I mean, I'm still broke, so thanks, Mom and Dad.
Wow, you're all about casting blame on everybody.
I know, I just feel it. Just casting blame.
This episode's going to be about Hayley accepting responsibility.
Oh, man, if only that weren't too true. But yeah, I think around... I was in middle school. I was really bored. It was the summertime, and there was a classical guitar hanging around the house, and I just asked my mom to teach me a song. Figured out one song, started learning more songs, and then once you get to 7th grade, 8th grade, it's kind of cool to play guitar, and my friends would be like, yeah, I'm a guitar player. I'd be like, oh, that's so neat. And then I'd realize that they just had a guitar, and I was like, wait a second, do you know how to play the songs, though? So I, started learning a bunch of songs and accepted that I liked playing guitar by probably 9th grade.
Yeah.
And then from there...
now, see, I'm curious, because you said it's kind of cool. In my experience, like, that age, guys pick up guitars to get girls.
See, I did that to get boys.
That was a thing? Like, I suppose, but like...
I got my first boyfriend by learning Scar Tissue by Red Hot Chili Peppers. That's a true story.
Oh, okay. All right, so it goes both ways. I was just curious. Go on.
But yeah, I mean, and then it was just a fun way to, like, connect with people, make friends, and then in high school, I kind of had this crew of people who were all musical, and I started writing songs, and then from that point on, I was kind of hooked.
Are you a Plymouth native? Have you always been in this area?
Yeah, so I was born Jordan Hospital.
Yeah.
Before it was Beth Israel. Do
you think that had something to do with it? Because, I mean, again, I didn't grow up here, but it just seems like this is such a art music community. Do you think that helped?
Definitely. I mean, like the Kiskadee open mics and all that. That
Yeah.
was super. Like that was the first time I ever played out. You know, like.
How old
back
were
in
you
the day.
then?
Maybe like 14 or 15, 16. That age group.
For our
thereabouts.
listeners who don't know, Kiskadee's a coffee shop. So,
Yes.
I mean, most open mics tend to be at, like, bars, so it's kind of cool that there's one that...
Yeah,
A little-
it
yeah.
had a really cool vibe back then. I mean, I grew up in Plymouth, but I feel very much from here and like such a weirdo because I grew up in Central America for like 5 years, from like 4 to 9, and then moved back into the same house.
Oh, that's weird.
So I feel like I was born here.
Were
This
you
is
on
where I've
the
roots-
Were you on the run? Or is this someone else's fault?
Someone else's-
I didn't kill that officer.
No, my parents were teachers and they taught in American school there.
Oh, that's cool, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and then I came right back just in time to be the weirdo in middle school. I was homeschooled first.
Yeah.
And then I
Oh, you're one of those.
Then I started, yep. Then I started middle school just in time to feel like the biggest weirdo in all the land. Yeah.
Do your time in Central America, does that kind of like influence your music in any specific way?
It must. I mean, I think it influences. I spent such formative years there,
Mm-hmm.
but then I sort of repressed a lot of that because I wanted to blend in. You
Right.
know, like you want to fit in with your friends and.
You just want to be the normal person.
Yeah, you don't. The last thing you want to do in middle school is stand out or
Right.
have like anything extraordinary whatsoever about you. You just want to be ordinary and fit right in.
Yeah.
So I have a friend from Nicaragua who I haven't seen in over 20 years, and she flew into Boston last night and had a long layover, and we hung out in the middle of the night last
cool.
night, and it was like there's definitely like a connection there. Like, you know, I don't know, Central America is a magical spot. I recommend it to anybody.
Yeah.
Like-
Nicaragua is where you were?
Yeah, Nicaragua. My parents lived in Guatemala for a while. They're all magical countries.
What is, because we're dumb Americans, what is like a common misconception that like you think that Americans have towards that? Like,
I wouldn't say there's probably misconceptions, but what comes to mind is more just like what they're missing out on. Like,
Yeah.
Each country has such like personality and like a lot of warmth and hospitality and really amazing food, and people are just, I don't know, I'm very biased.
Yeah.
So I don't know, I think just it's hard to understand a place three-dimensionally if you haven't been there, but there's
Mhm.
just so much to explore. So I just recommend going. Just go there. Find out for yourself.
yeah. Nice. So you played at Kiskadee your first time.
Mm-hmm.
And were you immediately like, this is it? What's that?
I think, no, I had horrible stage fright.
Okay.
I mean,
Do you still suffer from stage fright? Or
no,
because I feel like some people don't ever kind of get over that. Like, they just deal with it.
if a gig makes me nervous, it's like a really good gig. Like,
Yeah.
I'm stoked to be nervous for a gig.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Like if it's something that it's growth is basically what's happening when you're nervous, right?
Yeah, because you're kind of outside your...
Your comfort zone.
Yeah. I always get nervous, and Fish can attest to this, probably like 15 minutes ahead of time to anything we do, and then be like, there's no one here. Why is no one here? Shouldn't there be people here already? What time is it? What time is it? Every like 5 seconds. That's what makes me nervous, is like the anticipation that it's not going to be attended.
Like when I was 10 minutes late today.
No, that I didn't even notice. But I'm sure it was my fault somehow.
I'm sorry about that.
But is that what makes you nervous, or is it that something's going to go wrong?
I suppose, yeah, it's wanting to do a good job.
Yeah.
It's wanting to be able to connect with the audience and to like carve out a space for yourself and fill it out rather than try to make yourself small, which is what I do when I get nervous. Is I try to make myself as small as possible.
Yeah.
But when you're performing, you the stage is yours to expand
Mm-hmm.
and to just invite people into that space and to it's almost, I like kind of see performance as hospitality in a way, like making people feel welcome in the space.
That. Yeah.
And so in order to do that, you have to take up your space, you know?
Yeah.
So I find that a fun challenge to continually do that, to try to remember that it's okay to take up that space.
I hear, I mean, from performers at all levels about like, connecting with the audience. And like, how is that? Is it just their response? Like, what is that connection that you're looking for? Is it just applause? Is it, people, I mean, I feel like you're kind of more folky, so I don't know do people dance when you play? But like, what is that connection that you're looking for?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it probably looks different. It definitely looks different depending on the genre. I think for me, it's like you can, when you're having a conversation with somebody and you can tell that they're present, versus when you're having a conversation with somebody and you can tell that they're distracted.
I'm sorry, you say something?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like that.
Yeah.
It's like you can feel it if the audience is engaged and if they're present with you, and it helps me be present with myself.
Yeah.
If the audience is there, because sometimes I'll catch myself like thinking about all these random things like while I'm singing songs, and a lot of it's repetitive, so you can kind of do that. But I've been trying to work on staying present with myself.
And kind of trying to keep it fresh, even though it's your 400th time. Like, I've talked to, do you know John Krieg?
John Krieg, I know the
I feel
name.
like we know, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were talking one time, he's, plays a lot of bars and whatnot, and, cover band, and he said, like, one time, like, he's watching Saturday Night Live on the TV kind of behind everyone and still playing along, and it's just so muscle memory that it's almost like there is, like, a little bit of a disconnect. So what are you doing to stay focused?
I'm just trying to, I don't know. My life has taken a lot of twists and turns over the last few weeks, so I've been trying to dig deep and like figure something out. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I've been doing a lot of meditation, which really does help, sort of, because when you're meditating, the whole point is to just be there in that moment with yourself. And so I've been trying to and that's like a muscle. Like it's something that you have to do consistently in order to, for it to be natural.
Yeah.
So I find that if I do it consistently just through practice of like meditation, then it becomes easier to do that when I'm on stage. It's like, just be here.
So for meditation, are you just shutting down your mind? Are you chanting something? Are you burning incense? It's honestly something I've been thinking about doing. So my doctor's like, oh, your blood pressure's just a little high. So I'm wondering if like meditation will kind of like help me ratchet things down a little bit.
Yeah. I would recommend it. I mean, I think especially if you're trying to accomplish a lot of things and you have to be a self-starter, like with your podcast, for example.
Yeah.
You're kind of always in this gear of like thinking about what's next, trying to figure out like, did I answer all my emails? Did I trying to stay organized? And I think from the moment you wake up, you can just get into that zone.
Yeah. It's like, oh my God, I hit snooze. I'm so lazy.
Yeah.
You feel guilty all day.
Yeah. And I think what meditation helps me do is like, it's like 10 minutes is all I aim for every day, just because I want to set a realistic goal.
Right, yeah.
I started trying to meditate for a half hour every day and it just wouldn't happen. I wouldn't do it because the goal was too high. But 10 minutes, I'm like, okay, I can do 10 minutes.
Who can't spare 10 minutes?
Yeah. And I have an app on my phone called Insight Timer.
Yeah.
And they have some guided meditations, and then they have just like a timer where you can choose how long you want to meditate for, and you can like choose to like start with a little bell or whatever. But I find that it just helps me tune in and figure out where I'm at. Like, no two meditation sessions feel alike. You know, your mind is constantly doing its own thing, and so just it helps me. Like, what's my breathing like? Am I having a lot of thoughts? Do I feel tired? Do I feel hungover? Do I feel
hungover? Why did that come up?
Like, no, just like it's a real life there. But I find that there's different techniques. Usually people have like an anchor point. So whether it's your breathing or whether it's your set, like the sounds that you're hearing or like particular sensation in your body, you just try to focus on that, or a mantra, like something that you repeat. And every time you notice that your mind wanders, you just label it thinking, and then you try to get back to your anchor. If it's your breath, you just try to refocus on your breath. So it's not so much about clearing your mind as it is getting practiced, noticing when you're thinking, and then coming back to your anchor point.
So you're not there trying to plan your day. It's just like, oh, that's a thought, go away thought, and then just kind of refocus.
Yeah. And I think an important factor in that is like doing it compassionately, because if you just like berate yourself every time that you're thinking and not focused on your anchor point, then it's going to have adverse effects, like it's not going to accomplish what meditation's supposed to do, which
Welcome
is
to my world.
Relax. So I think
You're terrible at this.
Another way to fail, man. No, that's something that I've been trying to learn too, because I'm so subject to that.
Yeah. So if that's something you're subject to, how on earth did you ever get to the point where you're writing your own music and playing out? Was that a huge hurdle for you to overcome? Were you kind of like worried?
Constantly.
Yeah.
It's always anytime you do anything where you're exposed in the world, you're going to have an opportunity to ridicule yourself.
Right. So my point is that first open mic, that wasn't original music, or was it a cover?
First open mic, I did a song by Jack Johnson.
Okay. Research who the hell's Jack Johnson. Like, I know I should know that name, but.
And then, yeah, I mean, I think it was challenging, which is why I gravitated towards it.
Was it harder that first time, or the first time you played original music?
First time I played an original song was at my school talent show, and it was insanely nerve-wracking, yes.
God, I ruined a talent show.
You ruined a talent show?
Well, I didn't ruin the talent show. I ruined the girls' performance ahead of us.
What did you do?
So a buddy of mine asked me to play bass, and I can't remember what the hell. He was doing a piano bit, and it was like some cheesy romantic song. I can't remember what the hell it was. The whole our set was a disaster because the guitar player lost his spot, and so he played a different chord. So I thought I was in the wrong spot, so I tried to catch up, and he went back. But anyways, so we set up, the singer was singing in front of the curtain, and we were going to be next. And I didn't know what I was doing, and I turned up the volume on the bass, and it was just sitting on the amp. And there was this god-awful feedback, and it sounded like it came from everywhere, so I didn't even know it was me. And we're all just kind of like looking around like, what the hell is that? I think the poor girl cried.
Oh, no.
I felt really terrible.
That's so sad. What grade were you in?
I was probably sophomore.
And playing bass?
Yeah.
Playing bass in a band?
Yeah.
What was your band's name?
It wasn't even like a band. It was just like this one kid wanted to do this song, and he asked me to like, so there was no like, we rehearsed a few times, there was no name. We didn't even like get that far.
Missed opportunities.
I know. Well, maybe not, because those other, I don't know where the kid who organized the whole thing, but I know where the guitar player ended up, and I'm also with that. Bit of a disaster. I actually didn't, I stopped playing after high school.
Really? You don't play any instruments anymore?
No, I went off to art school, and I kind of gave it up.
So what did you focus on in art school?
Not enough, because I didn't even finish that. My life has been very weird.
As life is.
Yeah, I found I'm more of like one of those, I can do a little bit of a lot of things, but not, I don't know. I wouldn't say professionally an artist. I wouldn't say professionally, obviously, if I haven't played since high school. But stop. You already blame me. This isn't about me. So now I totally lost track of what we're talking about. That's all right. Yeah, I know, right? Welcome to the Hayley Sabella podcast, where she puts Andy on the spot and blames him for things. So at what point did you decide that like music is where it's at and that's what you wanted to do? Was it that early? Was it that first open mic?
I mean, I've had to recommit to it several times. It's not... I think deep down I've always known I've wanted to do it since I was probably high school is when I really caught the bug. Like 15, 16 is when I
When you first got that guy with that sweet Red Hot Chili Peppers song.
And then I got a sweet breakup to write about.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
But I think it I don't know, it's been the hardest thing ever. Like the most obstacles, the most like I don't know, it's hard. It's hard to pursue anything that for me, it's been hard. But I also am like not I know that I won't be happy if I try to do anything else.
Yeah.
So it's like
I also feel like it's
stuck with it.
Way more rewarding when you struggle and something finally pays off than it's huge.
Yeah, I think if something's challenging, that's where your growth can be. You know, it's out of your comfort zone. It I mean, writing songs is really the part, it's like the sweet part, you know, like the part that sort of, it's like a brush up with magic when, like, you get, you know, like, a melody and words and, like, where does it even come from? And,
yeah,
you know, like, I don't know, I think it can be pretty therapeutic. Not that I'm a huge advocate of therapy as songwriting in terms of, like, I don't know if it necessarily makes for a great song. I think the songs that I've written with more distance tend to be a little bit more relatable. But for my own, like, I've dozens of songs that I'll never share with anybody that I just wrote to, like, sort of process through things. And out of, like, the way I see it is if, like, you have an excess of creative energy, it's got to go somewhere. Otherwise, it will turn into destructive energy is what I've found. Like, it needs an outlet. So
it's really interesting because, like, you know, I've had some rough spots and people are like, oh, you should go paint, and I'm like, I don't function that way because I can't focus on what I'm doing. So, like, I almost find that detrimental. But I'm also not like an abstract kind of person. Like, I want things to look photorealistic as much as possible. So I feel like processing emotions that way doesn't necessarily work. It can be kind of, if you get into the zone, it's kind of meditative, but it can work against it, I feel like, for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, everybody has their own process and their own things that kind of work for them. But I think a lot of when you're struggling, for me, the thing that I like to do is try to escape somehow.
Okay.
Distract myself somehow. And I find that when I'm writing a song, I can process through things and be surprised by the fact that I'm actually, like, I can, like, trick myself into being present for something difficult without realizing it through creation.
Oh,
if that makes sense. Like,
yeah,
it's like sort of like a, you sneaky, like, I didn't mean to write a song about this, you know, like, but then I just enjoy the creation of it, so it sort of lures me into, like, a song will be over and I'll be like, oh, geez, like, that's what I was processing.
So are you ever kind of surprised being like, you think you're angry and as you write it, you find out it's maybe less anger and jealousy, or it's more jealousy, or you know, you're hurt? Like, as you're writing, do you discover that maybe what you're feeling isn't what you were, like, kind of hidden feelings? Maybe that's what
I think the progression is not. Sometimes it is like one emotion to another, but it's most usually from, like, general to specific.
Yeah.
Like, it goes from something like, I'm just writing a song, these are just sort of words, general words. It actually just, I'm speaking from an experience that happened, like, yesterday.
Okay.
Like, I started a song, it was all very vague, very, no specifics, no, like, references, basically, just, just vague words. And then the next day I came back, and then I started,
so the next day would be today?
Yesterday. I finished it yesterday. I started it 2 days ago.
I gotcha.
And yesterday I came back and I started applying it to actual experiences. And it went from being, for me, it went from being, like, just like a vibe to, like, devastating. Like, it just, like, made the transition, like, because specific things, like, it just totally, it changed completely. In a way that's, I don't know, it's just fun.
Yeah.
It's fun to, like, to explore how you're feeling.
And do you normally start with the lyrics or the melody, or do they kind of like, how do they fit together, and how do you develop one over the other?
They come usually at the same time. Melodies are easy, words are a little harder. So usually, I'll just talk about this particular song since it's so fresh. But
okay.
It started with, I was noodling on the guitar. I hit an interval that I thought was interesting, and then the melody, I like hummed the melody along with the guitar. Like the guitar played it first.
Mm-hmm.
I sang along with it, and then the words just came.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, the words came with it. Like,
and so now you're obviously far beyond that first open mic. Now, like, where are you playing? Like, are you more towards Boston? Do you still play in Plymouth?
Yeah. So I thought I was moving into a van about August 24th. We like left, and we were supposed to just tour indefinitely.
I heard it broke down in Canada.
Broke down in Canada. That's where the bus remains. We had to fly home, and so I had like 4 months because we were going to take like a big old loop, go all the way to the other side of Canada, and then cut down the west coast and land in Arizona, where my boyfriend's family lives, for the holidays, and then just sort of figure it out from there.
Yeah.
And so now I have like all this empty space.
So is this like the whole van living tiny house kind of thing that you were
hashtag van life, man?
Yeah.
It's as stereotypical as it gets.
I've been totally watching those on YouTube.
And I've found that it actually, like, minimalism and like having few belongings is like a creative's my form of creativity. It really helps. Like I don't realize how much my stress is tied up in an environment that feels out of control.
Yeah.
And so just having few belongings, each belonging has a purpose. Nothing like that. Just, it's a lot of work to get there.
Yep.
It's a lot of work to get there, but once you're there, it's really rewarding. Like, we can basically carry everything that we own because we had to fly back from the van. It was already pared down.
With everything.
We had to fly back with one checked bag apiece.
Oof.
So that's how the stuff we have. We've already started accumulating more stuff.
Yeah.
So minimalism is definitely more about purging.
Yeah.
Than it is about getting your set stuff. It's like a routine of getting rid of things. Like once a week, just get rid of things.
You know, and it's funny. I, for the last decade or so, I've, been more of an apartment renter kind of person. And I'll talk to people and they'll be like, don't you feel like you're throwing your money away? And be like, no. Because I have a life that is not dictated by this house. I don't have to worry about the lawn being mowed. I don't have to worry about the gutters being cleaned. I don't have something in the end that I can sell, but I have so much more time.
And time, to me, is way more precious. I couldn't agree more. Like, I would rather have a situation, because, like, having the responsibility of ownership of, like, a piece of property is, like we just house sat for some friends, and it was great to just have like a full house for a while after living in a van and then a trailer, and having pets too. I have cats, so I got to hang out with animals because I love having animals, but my life doesn't allow
Cats aren't animals, dogs are animals.
Both animals.
Cats are evil.
They're both animals. I love both dogs and cats. I'm like very firmly a pro both.
All right. We'll agree to disagree.
Yeah. But it was a lot. It was like just having more dishes to wash.
Mm-hmm.
Like in our trailer, like we like want to cook something, well, we have to empty the pot that's being used before we can use it again.
Right. Yeah.
And we have to clean it, and then so it's. I don't know. It's amazing how things like you're just like, oh, just grab a new pot, and then you just end up like with a dishwasher full of stuff.
Full of stuff, right? Yeah. Opposed to washing the one dish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and just like more surface area to clean, like literally like a bigger floor. Like the floor in the trailer is like It's like as long as this table and like maybe a little wider. And that's so easy to keep clean. It's
Right.
great, And I like things clean. So that's like, but I've never been able to do it because I don't want to spend my whole day cleaning. But I'll spend a half hour cleaning.
Who was I talking to? Oh, I know who I was talking. I was talking to a friend of mine, and he's like, "Yeah, it took me like 4 hours to mow my lawn." I'm like, "That's crazy! Like, that's 4 hours!" Like,
And I mean, I get it. If I had a farm, like I would do maintenance if it was like growing things. Like that to me is worth it.
Yeah, but I feel like there's a definite exchange there. If you're putting in time in your garden, you're going to get repaid in food. I mean, I suppose to each their own if that's your thing, but to me it's just such a time sink to have a house. And I talked to...
Oh, I don't believe in lawns, by the way. Just so that's...
You don't believe in lawns?
There's so many better ways.
They're real. I've seen them.
I don't know. I know that they exist, but...
So what would...
I think there must be better, less maintenance, more...
Just like blacktop?
No, like something that doesn't need tons of water in order to look good, tons of upkeep in order to not piss your neighbors off.
AstroTurf.
Something that decomposes.
All right. You don't like any of my ideas.
Sorry, I'm being a little.
But I mean, your neighbors. That's part of it too. Is like when you have the house, there's almost a need to have to kind of keep up with the Joneses, where you're like, oh, I got to mow the lawn because they mowed their lawn yesterday, and I can't let my lawn bring them. It becomes like this escalating.
Yeah, if you don't it's like there's always somebody putting pressure on you to do a thing.
Yeah, when I lived in an apartment building, I didn't know anybody. It's great.
You live in an apartment still now?
I actually rent a room now, but I used to live in an apartment building in Middleborough, and it's like I didn't know anyone there. It was great.
It was great.
You give the occasional like, "Hey, what's up?" as you walk down the hall. And that's it. No commitment.
Yeah, man.
How do we get here from your songwriting?
Sorry, you asked me about
the band thing and the band thing.
You asked me about
Right.
shows, and I immediately steered it toward my life story instead. But
no, that's this thing goes off the rails all the time.
So, the point of it is that I'm home. I had 4 months of empty space of first time I've been home.
Oh, so you're looking for gigs. So if anyone's out there looking...
No, I've already I am looking for gigs, and I already have a bunch.
Oh, that's awesome.
So it's kind of been fun to just be like, well, I have all this energy and momentum that it took to move into a van and do that. So now it's just these reserves are built up, and they're like, we need to go somewhere. And so I'm like, let's play all the shows. So it's been really fun.
Nice. Where's been your most favorite show, and where's been your least favorite show?
Well, I've only played one so far.
Okay.
It was my favorite.
I mean, you've played more shows than just one.
No, I mean since I've been home.
All right.
The other night I played at Club Passim, and that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Opening for David Mallet, who's a songwriter I really look up to. So that was a special night, and it was filled with meaning for me since it was the first show in a string of shows after being home. Favorite show?
Yeah.
Of all time?
Of all time.
I mean, I had one really awesome breakthrough show where I got to open for Emmylou Harris and Ry Cooder over at Tanglewood.
Oh, wow.
Which was
That's amazing.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
That was I know it's definitely my favorite show. I mean, getting to play to an audience of that size was just crazy. It was really cool.
And did you connect with the audience? Did you you feel like they were really picking up?
Yeah. Yeah, the guy afterwards who booked me, he's the director of the BSO.
Mm-hmm.
He said, sometimes, you never know with an opener, but they were really with you. I'm glad you're here. They were paying attention.
That's awesome.
So I felt that. I felt like they were rooting for me. I actually made a mistake.
Yeah.
And I think it worked in my favor. I just forgot the lyrics to one of my songs, and I just went oh, drats. Right in the middle of my song and started over. And I feel like it sort of, even though I was genuinely upset, I felt like it sort of, I got support from the audience in that moment to just no, you can do it. Come on.
Now, I've been to a ton of concerts.
How come you've never been to any of mine?
Well, because we just met.
Just kidding. Sorry. I'm not.
Can we just delete her? So, but even like the perfect. So my question was going to be, how was the crowd? Because a couple summers ago I went and saw Guns N' Roses when they first started touring again, and Lenny Kravitz opened.
Ooh.
Right? And
how random.
It was, but what a great lineup.
It's an amazing lineup, but I don't know if I'd put them together.
Half of the place was empty when Lenny was playing. I'm like, I know he's the opener, but he's fucking Lenny Kravitz. Where is everybody? Like, did you kind of feel like there were less people? Were people kind of coming in? Like, what's it like to be an opener?
Well, being an opener is a mixed bag. This particular instance, I was very grateful that it felt...
I mean, you're not as cool as Lenny Kravitz. I don't mean to break that to you.
I only had a half-hour set, so I think that worked. And it was supposed to be So basically, the reason why I got the gig is because Emmylou Harris's drummer had a flight that put him at the venue a half hour after their original start time.
Oh, so they needed someone to fill.
So they needed somebody to fill. It was a last-minute thing. So, like, thank you to whatever airline made him late. I appreciate you. And
thanks, airlines. That's crazy.
In that instance, I thank that airline. So because he was running late, I got the gig. Everybody was there, and it was like the hottest day of the summer. Like it was like July 1st, and extremely hot out. And so I was just pumped that people were there, and it was full. And I don't know exactly how many people were there, but it was more than I've ever played to.
And have you had a show that was an absolute nightmare?
Oh, of course. I mean...
And how was that my fault?
Can I tell you about my worst nightmare show ever?
Yes, please do.
It was maybe 3 years ago now.
You got all like
4 years ago.
Soft spoken, and it's like building the scene.
I'm trying to. I got booked up in Vermont, Burlington, Vermont. So 5-hour drive.
Okay.
For a gig as a duo. The other half of my duo couldn't make it. So I had to...
So was this someone that you were working with, or were you like...
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. They couldn't make it. They had good reasons not to be there. So I just was like, all right, I'm driving up to Burlington. The woman who booked me seemed like she was kind of doing a similar thing that I did, so I assumed that she was going to book something appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
I got to the venue. It was a club, like a club,
like a boom-ch like club,
dance floor, like no food, like just like drinks, and like it was Halloween week.
Okay.
And I was getting ready for the gig, and I was like, why on earth am I here? This doesn't make any sense. I get to the club. It's Halloween week. The bartender's in the bathroom getting ready. She's putting on like the Mexican like
the Day of the Dead.
Day of the Dead.
Yeah.
Sort of theme. She has all this makeup, and she's getting all like ready for her night as a bartender Halloween at this club. And she's like, do you want some makeup? I'm like, what the fuck? Sure, I'll take some makeup. I smear white face paint all over my face, like black out my eyes, like just like I'm like, let's just get weird. Like, I have no idea what we're in for tonight. I start playing. I know exactly 5 people who came, and 5 people look very small in this huge club. I'm singing folk music, and they were about to have like this major dance party afterwards. And they walk in, and they're like, what's wrong with her face? And it was just, I mean, it ended up being a funny story, and I got to make so many friends who like I spent the night at their place, and they were really great. I connected well with them. My aunt and uncle, and surprised me there because their daughter went to school in Burlington, and my uncle was like, listen to me, Hayley. where are you sleeping tonight? Like, you will not sleep in my car. We're going to figure something out. He just lives a completely different lifestyle and cannot imagine the idea that, like, I don't know where I'm sleeping in 5 hours.
Right.
So, yeah, that was, and then I...
Did you have the van?
Didn't have the van. I had my mom's minivan. And
It was pretty spacious.
I like the van.
Yeah.
But I had a place to stay. I got paid. It really wasn't the worst thing ever. But I drove 5 hours to play to, like, exactly 5 people.
An hour a person.
An hour a person.
That seems reasonable. So you're going to play a couple songs for us?
I am, yeah.
Oh, before we do that, where can people go online to check out your music? SoundCloud or...
Yeah, Spotify. If you follow me on Spotify, it would really make my day. I have an album out called Forgive the Birds that I released April 2018.
What did the birds do? Just all about blame.
That's a separate discussion.
All right.
Yeah, it'd make my day if you listen to that. I'm really proud of that one. I have a new album or a new EP coming out later this year into next year, and a Kickstarter to support that I'm going to be launching over the next few days. So.
Oh, nice. So, search Hayley Sabella on Kickstarter and back that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So what are you going to play for us?
I have 3 songs prepared for you tonight. I have a song that's the title track of the EP I'm releasing. It's called Flew the Nest. And then the next song, which is also on the EP, is called Sorrow Joy. And then a song called Cape Cod.
Are these like first time anyone's heard these?
They are not the very first time because I've been playing them out a little bit. But I
was hoping we were special.
I think you are pretty special, though.
Shut up. That sounded kind of sincere.
In the sense that there aren't very many recorded versions of these floating around in the world. So that is special.
All right. So kids, don't bootleg that. Don't record that on your tape player. Go out and download the album.
Actually, if you have a tape player and you're recording this, then I
would love to see someone record from a tape player from a podcast, because I feel like the logistics behind that would be ridiculous.
I would not even be mad. I would just be impressed.
Well, Hayley, this was a lot of fun.
Thank you so much for having me.
Even though it's the first time we met, I feel like I've known you for a while.
Sorry for being argumentative all night.
But that's why I feel like I know you, because that's how everyone I know is. I always tell that one of the regular places we go all the time downtown here is they'll get like a new bartender or waitress, and they'll be like, "Oh, excuse me, thank you." And I'll call someone and be like, "You need to talk to the new girl. She can't be nice to me. It makes me feel unwelcome."
Classic New Englander.
Yeah, don't be nice to me. So
I feel that.
But no, this was awesome. So thanks for joining us. And
cheers. Thanks for having me.
And all right, so go play some music and let's go.
All right.
Chop chop.
Okay.
Laying down my tired body beside your warmth when it's too warm already. Breathing is like swimming in July. Nostalgia got me flipping through my memory. The sponge is summer dripping till it's dry. Can't recall a time I felt this way. Can't recall a time I felt this way. I feel my eyes, a pigeon calls, turn the page. I see my sister giving breath. song, I just feel the whole wide world. I don't like keeping secrets. I just want my words to feel true, like how the way I feel about you isn't wild waves or fires, but a slow start to desire, the kind of warmth that doesn't tire. Joy feels a lot like sadness, just a cup that's overflowing, impartial to what it's holding, still water with an endless bottom. Dive in, show 'em if you got 'em. Hearts as heavy as an endless autumn. You found me in the driveway, my car's still full of groceries. We've got a lot to carry. You blow my mind in a Cape Cod kind of way, with the sandbar spine and a rosehip bush and cigarettes a pack a day. I turned around at 17, learned to drive, I went the other way. Said anywhere but east from here is where I wanna be. With a backpack full of principles and how things ought to be.
Okay, thanks for checking out the podcast. And don't forget to check out our other podcasts on the Inebri-art Podcast Network. There's the Bar Talk. There's Old Colony Cast. There's, of course, the Inebri-art Podcast. And our latest, Retro Redoctopus, a kind of nerd genre podcast that you can check out now, all available on our website at inebri-art.com. And pretty much available everywhere that podcasts are available, on Stitcher, iTunes, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, all those things. And if you don't see it where you're looking, let us know. We'll try to get onto that as well. And you can also email us at inebriart@yahoo.com with your questions, complaints, and suggestions. And also, if you could take the time to rate and review us on iTunes, that would be phenomenal. That helps us get more exposure and bring more of these great podcasts to your ears. And thanks again for listening.